Between 1976 and 1977, New York City was terrorized by a cruel and heartless serial killer. This cold-blooded murderer killed 6 and wounded 7, mostly using his infamous .44 caliber revolver. He chose his victims at random, primarily targeting couples in parked cars and women with long, dark hair. He managed to effectively flee the scene after committing these crimes and remain out of the public eye, making it hard for the police to build an accurate profile. His name was David Berkowitz, who became known as the Son of Sam and the .44 caliber killer. Troubled childhood, and there were certainly signs of his future madness. Berkowitz was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1953. His unmarried parents separated shortly before his birth, and he was put up for adoption. Berkowitz was an intelligent student, but had major behavioral issues in school. He was bullied by his classmates and was called the fat little Jew boy. He forged a very tight relationship with his adopted mother and desired her attention. He ended up killing his adopted mother's parakeet by poisoning it with a cleaning solution because he was jealous of the affection his mom showed it.
Go.
His adopted mother passed away from breast cancer when Berkowitz was 14. This affected him greatly because he had a strained relationship with his adopted father. Berkowitz enlisted in the U.S. Army when he was 17 and was deployed to South Korea, where he began experimenting with psychedelic drugs. His fellow troops say these drugs led to severe personality changes. When he returned to the U.S., he enrolled in Bronx Community College but dropped out after 1 year. He moved to Yonkers, an industrial city in southeast New York, and he worked several blue-collar jobs such as a taxi driver, a sorter at the U.S. Postal Service. It was while he worked in the post office that his introduction to Satanism began. David would attend parties in the woods where people would perform satanic rituals and chants. It was at these parties David's decline into madness would become a free fall.
Let's bring him, let's summon him from the netherworld, from the air, and let's now ask him to anoint you, to knight you as one of his loyal soldiers, to do his bidding, to do his will.
Did there come a time when this group, when the crimes that they were committing, went beyond animal sacrifice? Were there arsons or something?
Yes, there were definitely a lot of arsons. These demons wanted fire, and
Lucifer?
Yeah, right. This was Lucifer, and it was Molech, and another god who wanted fire sacrifices. Those of us who had at this time dedicated our lives to Satan's service, to be his soldiers, and we had to create an atmosphere that will be conducive to his coming upon the world scene.
He began hearing voices of devils that would change his life. Berkowitz claimed that demons and a black Labrador retriever owned by a neighbor named Sam had ordered him to kill.
According to Berkowitz accounts, his killings began on December 24th, 1975. He stabbed 2 women using a hunting knife. One of the women was called Michelle Foreman, and the other one was never identified.
Was a black-haired beauty with big dark eyes.
At 1:10 a.m. on July 29th, 1976, 2 teenage girls, Donna Loria and Jody Valente, were double parked outside Donna's apartment building in the Pelham Bay section of the Bronx. They had just returned from a disco in nearby New Rochelle.
Working on a night move.
As they talked in Jody's car, a young man crept up and fired 3 shots through the passenger's window. Jody was wounded in the thigh, but Donna was killed instantly. Although no one knew it at the time, the Son of Sam shootings had begun.
No. Please. Please. You don't have to. Please.
A year later, the killings continued. 18-year-old Donna Laurie and 19-year-old Jody Valenti were sitting in Valenti's car when Berkowitz came up and shot them both. In 1977, another shooting happened. Berkowitz was following a Columbia University student, Virginia V., when she was walking home from class.
At some crime scenes, Berkowitz left letters. However, despite using the handwriting to conduct handwriting analysis, police still could not locate Berkowitz. In his letters, he left cryptic and satanic messages. In one, he wrote, "Because Craig is Craig, so must the streets be filled with Craig." And huge drops of lead poured down upon her head until she was dead. Yet the cats still come out at night to mate, and the sparrows still sing in the morning. He also drew a satanic symbol. In another letter, Berkowitz wrote, "I say goodbye and good night. Police, let me haunt you with these words. I'll be back, I'll be back." To be interpreted as bang, 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 ugh. Yours in murder, Mr. Monster. After confessing for his crimes, Berkowitz continues to claim that he was not the sole man responsible for the Son of Sam murders. He says that it was a group of members in a satanic cult that committed the crimes. Although he was part of several of them, he was not the only one responsible.
There were a series of 8 attacks known as the Son of Sam killings.
Yeah.
Did you do all of them?
I was at all of them. I was at, more or less at all of them, scouting the areas and reporting back on likely targets and things. And I did not pull the trigger at every single one of them. And I believe the police do know that. I think that they were able to realize that after time, although it's not important, I mean, because I did do some of the crimes. I did take some lives, and I'm very sorry for that. And I look back and I said, my God, you know, how did this all come about? How did this all begin? And I just don't know anymore. I don't know.
On April 17th, 1977, the Son of Sam, or David Berkowitz, would commit his final crime, killing Alexander Asov and Valentina Soriani. A witness claimed to see a man with a firearm, so police investigated by searching parking tickets that were assigned the night before. They located one belonging to David Berkowitz, who was already being investigated by police because his neighbor had filed complaints against him. The police waited outside of his apartment building for him to come out. Once he finally did, they searched his car and found 2 guns, one of which was the infamous .44 caliber revolver. They asked Berkowitz, and he confessed immediately, saying, "Well, you got me." After pleading guilty to the murders, David Berkowitz was sentenced to 7 consecutive life sentences. In jail, he became a devout Christian, studied the Bible religiously, and found God. He now expresses extreme regret for his crimes and laments his horrible and despicable actions. During his time in prison, Berkowitz has been eligible to attend parole meetings several times. However, he has failed to show up each time, claiming that he simply does not deserve parole and deserves to pay for his sins and spend time in jail for his despicable actions. During his time in prison, Berkowitz wrote a book titled The Son of Hope, a spin-off off of his infamous moniker, The Son of Sam, in which he outlines his serial killing spree and then discusses how finding God and becoming a devout Christian man changed his life for the better.